Wow. Even the Hangouts on Air live pop-up has the warning here. That's so weird. Okay, for those who are watching this, apparently Hangouts on Air is going away later this year. For quick streaming, try youtube.com/webcam. Oh, God. Anyway, so that's for us to worry about, not you, whoever's watching, to worry about, unless you also use this service that apparently mostly only role-playing people use. So it's a niche it's a niche community that's being that's losing a vital resource. Anyway, you're watching a game that was arranged through the Gauntlet, dear viewers. The Gauntlet is a community on the internet that gets together and plays cool role-playing games online, usually through the medium of Google Hangouts, which will probably change as later this year it'll be gone, apparently. Find them at gauntlet-rpg.com. There'll be a link down below where you'll find their blogs, their forums, their podcast network, their monthly zine that has like supplements to existing games and new games as well. And of course, there's the Hangouts calendar, through which this game's arranged. This is part 2 of our series of going through Beam Saber by Austin Ramsey. It is a game of mecha warfare forged in the dark. And last session we did a butt ton of world building and character creation, and now we're ready to unleash these characters into the world. Although, as you'll notice, we are missing one player from last session, but we have a new player slotting in, and we'll talk about their character and whatnot with connections and when we get there. So, but first, let's go through my screen here. Would you kind of introduce yourself and pronouns and whatnot? Like a brief description of your character as well. I'll start with yourself there, Chris.
Hey, I'm Chris. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing the Envoy by name of Luce Diamant. Also he, him pronouns. Call sign Moonfellow. He's kind of a dashing socialite dandy who is deeply involved in social machinations in our faction and wants to prove that he can fight with the best of them.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be ample opportunity to be able to do that. Were you the one who requested one-on-one mech fights last week? I think. Oh yeah, you are. Yeah, mech duels. There we go. Sure, there'll be plenty of those. Up next, all right, Kyle, would you kind of introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kyle. I use he, him pronouns, and my character is Aethelbald Pembroke. Uses he, they pronouns. His call sign is the Wandering Wolf. He has a black mullet. He is big, has piercing eyes, tailored but functional clothing. And he wears the mark of both the mercenary unit he used to serve in but was destroyed, and the House Pembrooke mark as well. And my mech is called Fenris Potens. It is bipedal with humanoid arms, hands, and an armored core with an ornate wolf's head. And yeah, I'm playing the soldier.
I do want to point out that Fenris Potens not only a beam saber was too good for Fenris Potens.
Yes, has a beam halberd, big beam halberd. That is my weapon. Yes.
Big Beam Halberg, the name of my latest single. God. All right, and last but not the least, Robert, introduce yourself and give us just a brief description of the character, which we'll get into in more detail later. But for now, Robert, kind of introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Rob. I use he, him pronouns, and I am playing Venus Darrington. She's the Ace playbook. She's now the sole heir to her house with trying to prove her worth to her, family, and herself.
All right, we'll get into more detail with Venus later, because for now, because I always want to do this kind of before we get into the game proper, let's talk about safety, because it's good to always have that out in the open. Make sure people know what we have to make sure we're playing in a comfortable environment. So we have our lines and veils. Lines are things that won't be crossed, won't show up in fiction. Veils are things that can happen in fiction, but we won't concentrate on it. I want folks to give them a look, including myself. There we go. But of course, sometimes, we might get into scenes that might make people uncomfortable. We have the X card for that. So if we go into a scene where folks are made comfortable for whatever reason, and it could be any reason's fine. You can say you want to X card that, or in the chat or in the roll for your party, and I might ask some questions, what's being X carded, but no one gets to question if the card's used. If it's used, we'll roll back and start over. Finally, we have an open door policy, which means that if for whatever reason folks need to step away from the table, whether there's an emergency they just can't say no to, or you felt more tired than you are, or you just need to go for 5 minutes, or you need to pause the game, and if it's getting a bit intense, that can happen anytime in the game, and it's perfectly fine. Okay, so let's get back to knowing Venus. So we need to, so we can know more about them, and we can make connections with them between the three of y'all. Who, for the viewer, they are part of a squad that serves House Pembroke, which is one of the more lesser houses in the Veridian Alliance, which is a conglomeration of noble houses that come together as part fighting in this long, terrible war between all these factions in space. We kind of imagined House Pembroke as the House Clegane of because they couldn't stop just using Game of Thrones as an easy reference point last time we were together. I mean, it just ended, so it was in the zeitgeist. Yeah. So that's kind of that's where we all are, and as a squad, and we're using mechanized cavalry, which means you're daring, dashing folk in brilliant, beautiful vehicles, and you complete mission through I don't know, gumption, and more daring. Yeah, there we go. So that's kind of the rambling explanation for House Pembroke. So yeah, so Venus Darrington. You say you're the heir of House Darrington, then?
Yeah, it was her sister, Regina Darrington, but she was killed in a surprise attack during the recent conflicts. So the responsibility of carrying the family name falls to her, falls to Venus now. And Venus has always been trying to get out of her sister's shadow, so to speak, prove that she's just as tough and just as able to hold up the heroic traditions of the Darringtons.
How's that going so far?
All right.
Okay. I'm imagining in the anime opening of this show, there would be a shot of you walking kind of towards the bottom left in the shadow of some tall figure in the distance. Because, symbolism.
Yeah.
So, yeah, how did you come to becoming part of House Pembroke?
I've been assigned here just after graduating. Been training hard to become an RV pilot, they call them, or we. So, yeah, my opening was basically has been training to be a mechanized cavalry pilot. So
All right, cool. Yeah. So let's see. I'm just looking at your look. Calm face, cold amber eyes. Okay. All right. So we know. I think we got an idea of what you're like. You're the ace pilot, but like, just I'm here to prove myself, sort of thing. All right. That's interesting. Let's talk about your ally and your rival, so we know who doesn't like House Pembroke because of you.
so my ally is Denari, a gruff mechanic, who I'm trying to see what, like, I say, can he be from the same, like, faction? Can he be from...
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Like when we're looking at the Veridian Alliance, there's not many squads there at the moment. So yeah, he can be if you want.
So yeah, he's from House Veridian. We've got
Okay.
a sort of Q James Bond sort of vibe going on, where I'm constantly like getting dings and stuff in my equipment. I'm messing up my equipment, and he sort of grumbles, but he's a old friend of the family, so he knows me from when I was little.
All right. Okay, so that means that kind of cancels out this negative then from House Veridian. Which is okay. At least yeah, you have allies there. Your rival?
My rival is Ripper, reckless pilot.
Sounds fun.
He was he was in the same sort of class as me during in the academy, and we were always trying to one up each other because he thought he should be the top the top gun or whatever they call it.
Mm-hmm. So which squad is he in? Is he part of?
He would be. I'll need to make one up. So.
I can just note in the note here for now that like it's an oligarchical faction. You don't have one at the moment, but if you do, go ahead.
I'm looking for a name here. Say he's from House Malachi.
Okay, what's House Malachi like?
They're very much like if the Darringtons are like the the like the noble heroic type house, then they are the let's go with the Game of Thrones. If she's from the Starks, he's from the Lannisters.
Of course. Of course. All right, there we go. We finally have a House Lannister. Okay, that's interesting. Who's not positioned favorably against House Pembroke, who are the House Cleganes? All right, well, we're mixing this up. Okay, that's cool. All right, so I'll give you time to like think of like connections between the three of y'all. I know on Venus you'll have to get right to. If you have more questions for what Aethelbald and what Luce are like, feel free to shoot them out. As you can tell, Aethelbald is a soldier. Through and through. Luce is a socialite.
Sorry, was there a question there for us?
Oh no. Oh, was it? Not for me. Anyway.
Just wondering. That's all. Sure.
Oh yeah, I do have a question. I think I asked this. I don't know if I got an answer. What's the name of the house that sponsored you to get that repair bay?
I think that was our own house from what we talked about last session.
Yeah.
Because I think that's right.
Yeah.
It was-
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd said something about it being like hand me down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, because technically this squad isn't like you're like not vassals, but like you work for House Pembroke.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm the only one who's actually a member of House Pembrooke of the family. Yeah.
Okay. Just want to note down. Yeah.
So I'm interested in like why Venus ended up working for House Pembroke. Like why Pembroke and not some other house?
Because I think if she had taken a posting with her family's own forces, she knew they were going to send her to a nice, quiet sort of posting to keep her out of any serious danger, because they didn't want to lose another daughter. So she requested a posting with House Veridian to be a bit closer to the action.
Okay, well, I've added the connection. Venus is inexperienced and reckless.
Of course, yeah. These beliefs obviously are meant to change over time, or maybe they won't. I don't know.
So, what are Luce and Aethelbald like? Personality-wise, like, what would be the first impressions likely?
I think Luce, your first impression would be a little too smooth. So like very like this is kind of this is weird, but the phrase that's sticking in my brain is verbally greasy. Like you just kind of get sucked into the conversation and like very good at making you feel comfortable. But that's kind of like it's always just this surface level thing.
As far as Aethelbald goes, I think the oppression you would get is somewhat the opposite. So I guess you went to some kind of like, I don't know, academy or something to train to fight. It sounds like.
Yeah.
And definitely Aethelbald would not remind you of your classmates because he's underdressed for his station. He's more blunt than you would expect from most nobles. Just having spent all of this time away from the Alliance has changed his personality and made him much more, just frank and straightforward than you would expect from a noble, especially. Well, I guess I'm not the heir to the house, but somebody of a house of some standing.
Okay, so for Aethelbald, I'm going to go with refreshingly real.
Oh, thanks.
Whereas for Luce, I'm going to say he can't talk his way out of everything.
Sounds about right.
It sounds like a challenge.
That too.
Okay. All right. Sounds like we've got a squad. We've got a team to go into this war, into this kerfuffle. All right. So I'm gonna ask some questions about your forward operating base. For one thing, let's go to the mechanized cavalry tab, and I filled out the claims map. So those are kind of like what's near y'all, the kinds of places. So tell me about your base. What's like the surrounding area like, or is it like? No, I don't think it's mobile. It's not like a helicarrier, but like, go on.
You said we're on a planet?
Yes.
What is the planet?
The planet is called
the bases.
Yeah. Well, the planet is called Iridia, and I'm imagining it as a multi-biome planet because there's no such thing as a fully desert planet. That's ridiculous. Then again, we're in anime, so we might just be in a desert planet.
Is it a large planet or a small planet? Or
I'd say it's as big. It's about maybe I'd say few diameters bigger than Earth. Like that means anything. But yeah, just about maybe slightly bigger than Earth. Maybe if you add like if we add a moon to the Earth, so to speak.
Okay, sure. If the moon and the Earth never had a separation. Nice. And is the planet like inhabited, or are we just fighting over a rock?
I'd say it's definitely inhabited. I think it's one of those planets. I'm imagining that it's quite smack dab in the middle of this important corridor of space. So it's a bit war torn. It's changed hands quite a few times. In fact, I think if you full out the map of this planet, you can carve it up depending on which faction has control of which part. For sure.
I think one thing I imagine being at this base is that the nobles have they're like campaign tents, similar to medieval ones, but they're like made out of, space age material, and they've got stripes like you'd expect on a normal tent, but then they also have like a holographic projection of the coat of arms outside of the tent. So I think that's probably a thing. So I think there's like open spaces in the space somewhere where we can have these tents.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Anyone else have any details want to add? Yeah. Like, what is the surrounding geography like? I think deserty. Should we stick to desert planet, or gonna try something else?
We could make it have like 2 major biomes instead of 1.
Okay, all right, yes. I mean, I was gonna go for like multiple because,
or like maybe we're in a desert, but where we're currently stationed, we're like jutting up against like jungle. So like there are these like big desert dunes, and there's like maybe some mountains, and you crest the mountains, and it's just this giant like valley of jungle on the other side.
I like it.
that's really cool.
We've got the 2 biomes of 8th MS team. So
Pretty much, yeah.
Unintentionally, but yeah.
Yeah, funny how we got to that game. A show that's a big inspiration for this game. So yeah, is there any other detail you want to add about this base? We can keep it like loosey goosey, obviously, because like is it near a town? I'm assuming you can probably just jet off if you need to go to a town or something like that. So it doesn't need to be near a town. But yeah, is there any more details? I like tents. I like being at the edge of this like demarcation line between desert and jungle.
maybe it was like a town and we just occupied it and chased everybody out.
On that up.
Like it's a small town.
Yeah. I was gonna say nice, but wait, that's not nice. It's really...
Oh, there's both jungle and desert for you to go to. I'm sure.
Come on. That is so much. Okay. All right. So I think I want to see like a snapshot. We'll do a bit of free play before the top of the hour, and at the top of the hour I'll start giving you your mission. Got some time. So I want like a snapshot of each character. What are they doing in like their free time in this lull? Because as from what I've gathered looking at some interviews with soldiers, a lot of war is like waiting for things to happen. So what are y'all doing while you're waiting for something to happen? And anyone can jump in once you get an idea.
I think Aethelbald is playing cards with the common soldiers. I've got a point in consort, so I think this is part of his thing. He's used to hanging out with common soldiers because of his mercenary life, and I don't know, maybe there's some game like Gwent or Magic or something that people play in this setting, and he's playing that.
Space Gwent.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a cool snapshot there. I'm just gonna pull some dice or some fortune rolling. Yeah, so that's a good snapshot of Aethelbald. What about Luce? What are you doing?
I'm probably off at the neighboring tent, chatting with some folks from House Pembrooke. Schmoozing.
What's your latest schmoozing ploy?
I think it's just I'll go over and like make the rounds. Like this is kind of the typical like weekly thing where it's just be like, oh, bring my calling, like I'm imagining like bringing my calling card, and I'm like here to do the overly elaborate bow, and I'm here to check in on things, and it's like half being like, oh hey, do we have any orders, half like I'm gonna come and eat your fancy cheese and hang around and look beautiful on your couch.
Yeah. I want to do. Do you have consort? I just want to see how they treat you.
Yeah, I have consort and I have sway.
I think it's just I want to do a fortune roll using consort because I just want to see how they're treating you.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might actually do the same to Aethelbald as well. If you want to roll consort. Oh, yeah, you play Aethelbald. You're playing cards, but like maybe you're recently deployed to this area, and so these soldiers haven't had time to warm up to you. It's just you're Aethelbald Pembroke. You're the the wandering wolf of House Pembroke. What are you doing here with the hoi polloi? So everyone's kind of guarded. Either they're being quite guarded, and maybe one or two are being overtly sycophantic and throwing hands to like let you win. They're certainly not treating you as one of them.
Yeah, and I think I just say, well, it has been I'll just like look down and say, thank you for your time. Perhaps in the future you will prove to be real opponents. And they stand up and leave.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll pray them up. What about you, Luce? How did your fortune roll go?
I rolled a 5.
Okay, all right, okay. So this is kind of routine. You say this happens like every few days or so. So at this point, if you've gotten worse, sorry, hold that there. If you've gotten worse, I would have said that they're kind of almost treating you like a pet. You're like, oh, there's Luce. He's gonna eat our cheese and do his bow. But no, I think behind the sleaziness, I think because you're a competent person. I think you're displaying like some insight about the war and what's happening, and some of the nobles of House Pembroke, who I'm imagining is kind of a pragmatic sort of house. They're starting to see like, oh, okay, all right, there's some worth there. Luce isn't just talking out of his ass. I think it took a while, but you've got to the point where like you're almost like not wearing them down, but you're showing quite a bit of steel underneath all that sass. And Venus, what are you doing in this auspicious day?
So I am at the training tent, sparring, doing sort of fencing sparring, like sword training sort of thing.
What are you sparring against? Are you like is it like a Boston Dynamics style robot, or
So I was thinking like a hard light hologram, and it would be like of her her actual shooter from way back when she was before she went to the academy back home.
nice.
And it's just so she's just sparring with this hologram of her old tutor, and like it flickers every now and then when she lands a blow.
Give me like this sounds like a struggle. I want to see like how well you're doing It is just a fortune roll.
Okay, so I just roll my dice in that. Yeah.
I think that's gonna happen. It is just a fortune roll, and it is just this is all just for flavor, really. Although,
What
it
did
might
I
come up in
put
the future.
Oh, it's a. If I put more in struggle. Okay. So it's just roll 1 then.
Yep. Oh, okay. So that's a 2. Yeah, maybe it's just an off day, or maybe the hard lights just calibrated more. Or maybe maybe you should spar with something more faceless than your tutor, because you're not. You're not even getting the hits you should get on them. And they're starting to get more towards you. They're getting more hits on you than usual. It's not a good look. It's not a good day for Venus. What do you think so?
I think it's having trouble adjusting to the camp. People staring at me. Oh, is it, that's the the ear of the Darrington household. Sort of attention is sort of overwhelming me.
Yeah, and I think before we get into break, I think the last shot we see is maybe Aethelbald has after everyone's left is brooding by their lonesome, and Luce is in the middle of chatting with some folks, and the training montage of the training segment for Venus has just ended with the and then resounding failure, and you're all sweaty and tired, deflated when whatever personal communication device you have starts getting a ring, and you all know this is priority. This is from your direct superior, Lady Aranya Pembroke, calling you for a priority meeting. And let's take a break, and we'll come up with there. Let's take 10, come back at 7 past, and we'll give you a mission and get to some beam sabering. All right. So I think you all know kind of like where Lady Arania's command tent is. It's kind of like it's one of the bigger like sort of pavilion tents. So big that it has like a smaller antechamber tent where the three of you are kind of waiting because you're not really allowed to enter in unless you got express permission, and you don't have express permission at the moment. And yeah, so there's the three of you just waiting outside for the moment. What's the vibe like between the three of you?
So it's Ariana, is that right?
Arania.
Arania. What is her relation to me?
That's a good question. Do you have an answer?
Um. Uh. So she's the current head of the house, is that right?
Ooh. Well, she's your direct superior, but I don't think I've yet to like. I don't think I've ever said that she was the head of the house. More like she's the
Okay.
one you report to.
Okay. So maybe she's like my aunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Gone.
yeah, so like that would make sense. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's the kind of relationship we have.
Yeah. Imagine her in like kind of like mid-40s, grizzled military veteran, probably.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of
Yeah. And I think I'm eager to go fight because playing cards with the troops has proven a waste of time.
But the other two, how are y'all feeling?
Tense, frustrated. My sparring didn't go as planned either, so I'm kind of, angry at myself, which is coming off as just being angry.
I think I'm just like kind of stretching light calisthenics because I'm kind of like a little antsy. And if I notice Venus being a little angry, I think I like give you some like light slaps on the shoulder, like, oh, come on. We finally get to go off and actually do something instead of being, stuck in this interminable desert. It's a good thing.
I look at the hand that you're patting me on the shoulder with, and look at you in the eyes very pointedly.
I give you a couple more pats on the shoulder before I stop. But I do eventually stop.
Hey, perfect timing. That's that beep. No, I'm kidding. Hold on. I think yeah. At that point, yes, the kind of like the door to the tent slides open, and that's your cue to like filter into the war room of this fort town, which we should get a name to in the future. Town of. Okay, I'm not just gonna look at my desk and name it after the first thing I see. Yeah, so yeah, you're in kind of this war room. It's like warmly lit, like with white lights, and there is like a big kind of long circular conference table in the middle. It's littered with like with like papers, maps, and whatnot, and then there's a holographic of like a globe, and the corners of the tent are surrounded by tables, radio equipment, files and whatnot. It looks like a proper military place, although the furniture is quite posh. Probably the Lagrange League doesn't varnish their their tables like like the Veridian Alliance does. And behind the behind the globe, you can see if you the three of you walk around the conference table. Actually, no, the globe kind of parts, and both hands on the table, looking very directly at the map, and then at the three of you. Once the globe disappears, is Lady Aranya Pembroke. She, like I mentioned, late 40s, grizzled. There's probably like a big gash scar across her right eye. Hair is like braided, brown. It's like it's probably longer than it probably should be, but being a noble lady, she still has to look the part, even though she's conducting a military operation. And you can see behind her is like this big screen that's like communication stuff, and leaning next to the screen is this figure in black. It's wearing this long black cloak and has messy black hair, and has like these sharp wraparound sunglasses on. And Lady Aranya nods at the three of you and says, "Well, we have a mission for your squad." I say we, I mean, and she directs she nods towards the figure, who kind of like, as soon as kind of deference is shown, this figure smiles, and it's like he distangles himself from the leaning position he was on, and kind of like moves her to the table and says, "I'll take it from here, Lady Pembroke." And he takes off his glasses, and he has these like sharp, like cat-like eyes, and he's wearing like these red gloves. He looks like a taller, older Joker from Persona 5. Now that I'm thinking about it, his long cloak. But I think you generally know him. He has black hair, so he's not exactly Wesker. But you know him. He's infamous in the Veridian Alliance. He's the troubleshooter of House Veridian, who kind of comes in and just like commandeers, and commandeers like people for whatever the hell he's planning. And he says like, "Well, it's very nice to meet House Pembroke's attack dogs. I think you know who I am, but for courtesy's sake, my name is Mars Veridian."
Pleasure is ours.
Likewise. And then he kind of like flicks like a few buttons and it's like, "Well, as much as there's probably pleasure to be had in conversing with a lot of you, we're here to send you out to die for the glory of the Veridian Alliance." No, but we'll try to make sure none of you die. But we do have something terribly important that we believe House Pembroke's loyal squad can do for us. And here, Lady Aranya is kind of like stock still, not daring not to say anything, as kind of Mars just kind of like commandeers the entire war room for himself. And the globe disappears and pops up like a map of an area, and you can see like it's in a part of the planet Iridia that's it's almost smack dab in the middle of the desert. And the marking on the map, it says this place, this town is called Falter. And Mars says, "About 24 hours ago, well, we got contacted by something incredibly rare, a defector from the Yagalovsk Ascendancy. Someone's come in from the code to pledge themselves to the Veridian Alliance, and of course, we made sure that this defector is legit, and so far it all seems to check out. We had an extraction for them ready, but it seems their transport was shot down as crash landed in the town of Falter. And normally it would be quite simple to just get them out, but considering that Falter is in line with the Veridian Alliance at the moment, but it seems all communication has been lost for some reason. And after some reconnaissance, we found that the town is under siege by the Divine Wrath. So, objective simple, ladies and gentlemen. Extract our defector from the Yagalov's Ascendancy, currently trapped under siege in the town of Falter. That seems like something that's doable for the likes of you.
I have a score to settle with those Divine Wrath.
Wonderful. A vendetta. I always love a vendetta. Nothing like revenge to fuel a war. I'm sure you'll comport yourself. Going up against the Divine Wrath, Mr. Oh, you're a Pembroke, right? Pembroke. Aethelbald.
Do not forget it, or I will run you through.
oh, that's fantastic. Lady Aranya, your relatives are incredibly delightful. In fact, if this works out, you might be seeing more of me here. Clearly, you, my dear sir, are definitely have a bigger hoot than the rest of Veridian Alliance's young goons. You're a delight and a half.
So you say, just to pause for a second, you say extract.
Yeah.
That word can have various interpretations. Are there restrictions on the manner in which we extract this defector?
Well,
I assume they
you
must
would
be
prefer
alive.
Well, there you go. Aren't you smart, Mr. Diamond? Right.
Hmm.
Well, you're terribly smart. Yes, we prefer them alive, sane, intact. Maybe a bruise or two won't be amiss. After all, they work for the Ascendancy. But I prefer they be extracted to our hands, willing or not.
Sounds good. Less about the defector and more around everyone else.
I think he smiles at that. Well,
and I look at the other two and I'm like, you do know who you're asking to do this job.
Well, from what I've gathered, I'm asking a group of young but hungry soldiers looking to prove themselves in a manner most daring.
Sounds good. I just wanted to be sure that some amount of collateral damage was acceptable.
I think at this point, Lady Aranya barks like, of course there are rules of engagement, Diamond. That's true for any mission. And Mars kind of like shrugs and it's like, well, the nitty-gritty of your ROEs or your restrictions, whatnot, that's for you and the lady to figure out. I'm just a messenger boy.
All right. Works for us.
And I think he leaves like a USB chip of like info and just kind of stabs it into the table. and just says, "Well, Lady Pembroke, it's been lovely as always. These soldiers of yours were a delight. I hope with the successful completion of this mission, the ties between House Pembroke and House Veridian can be strengthened." I think he gives you all like a very lazy salute, and limbers off. That's what it looks like when he leaves. He limbers off, and
I scowl in his direction as he leaves.
yeah, he's a yeah. I don't think he pays attention to that. Oh well, no, he doesn't. He doesn't pay attention to that. Yeah, just scowl at his back. It leaves, and the tent closes. And Lady Aranya sighs, and this is something that's probably weird when you see her. She looks a bit rattled, and she looks at the three and says, "I had hope that the three of you don't start having budding relationships with that creature."
Wasn't planning on it.
Good. As far as the three of you are concerned, Mars is just House Veridian's attack dog, so to speak. Don't let him get under your skin.
He is a snake. I have dealt with his kind before.
Aethelbald, knowing how you deal with snakes, normally I advise caution, but for his sake, we're in agreement at that. Yeah, I think that.
Very good.
All right, so I'll give you like the basics of what you'll know about the town of Falter and what's happening there. So yes, Falter, as you all know, it's a trading hub for the desert area here in planet Iridia. But the thing is, where it's situated, it's like it's a flat, a plain. So like it's hot, it's disgustingly hot, and there is no chance of like sneaking up on anyone there. It's completely flat. Falter is a trading hub that has kind of been some communications hub as well for at least this region of Iridia. It's like because even though like there's satellites and Wi-Fi and whatnot, there's something about the atmosphere that kind of prevents like long range communications unless it's incredibly powerful. And Falter is one of those. It's a hub for like satellite dishes and a communications array, and so it's extremely important. Well, yeah, it's terribly important. I'm saying completely extremely, but like terribly important. It's nominally under control of the Veridian Alliance, but as Mars mentioned, God. As mentioned, they've recently lost communications, and it is under siege from the Divine Wrath, which, as aforementioned, artillery unit from the Chantry of Palladium, which is a bit odd for them to be here because, well, Palladium is kind of in the process of being pushed out of Iridia, so this feels like a desperation ploy. It's kind of the feeling there.
So they will be undersupplied.
I think they would be very much like they would be as well equipped as they were, for sure. And the Lady Pembroke lays out the rules of engagement. Nothing to do with the extracting the defector stuff. Again, that was all up to Mars, and she probably figured, look, whatever Mars said is good enough. But the two main ones are no threatening or employing force on civilians, and no making enemies of other factions besides Palladium. Because the thing is, even though Falter is primarily under control of Veridian Alliance, everyone has their shadow units, their black ops teams. Who knows what could be there? But concentrate on get on the defector. That's like that's kind of like the last ROE. Just like minimum collateral damage, Just like it's breaking through a siege and locating a defector and getting them out. That's tricky enough.
There is only one way for us to reduce the collateral damage. We will take the artillery in the rear and shatter them completely. Otherwise, they will destroy the city trying to hit us.
Reasonable. You mentioned the Chantry is our enemy faction here, but the defector was from the Ascendancy? Do we expect more of them here? Should we avoid them?
I think Lady Pembroke just says well, we'll I think this is a gather information, I think.
Okay.
For sure. I don't know if anyone has details on whether the Ascendancy is looking for this defector. How are you specifically probably gathering this info?
I think part of it is just trying to get a read from her of what does she know about the situation in Falter, and diplomatically what are the hot buttons. So do we need to be really careful about not poking the sleeping bear of the Ascendancy, or are we already on warlike terms with them, so if we have to destroy one of them, it's fine?
Okay, so it sounds like a consort again, and I'm just gonna keep this as a fortune roll for now because
Sure.
Not on this mission yet.
See what
you can glean.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a 4.
Okay, so it's a 4. So the two of you can glean between reconnaissance and diplomatic scuttlebutt, probably, judging from what the Ascendancy is doing, is that quite recently a detachment from the Knights of Valentine have kind of left their current post. And once you kind of triangulate what you know about, there's a defect and whatnot, you can tell they're headed towards Falter. So it seems this defector either has friends or people who want them back. Okay. And I think once you kind of find that out, she'll adjust the ROE then, saying if attacked, full force back, basically.
Okay. I think we can work with that.
They are no knights at all. A farce.
Well, Aethelbald, they are knights in name only, but they do seek to prove their supremacy, and to do that, they'll need victories. Be sure to not make yourselves theirs.
Rest assured, we will not give them the satisfaction.
All right. So, is there any more questions or information you'd want to find out?
Did we get the location of the defector?
Ooh. Yes. I'll give that to you because I think it's part of the data packet that Mars left behind. The defector has a transponder that spies from House Veridian managed to get to them. They turn on their transponder, and it is coming from the mayor's mansion in Falter.
Is that in the middle of town, or?
It's okay. So I'm imagining the Divine Wrath are here, town of Falter. It's at the back end of Falter.
Okay. Got it. So it's like through town.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Is there any more questions? You think you're like
Can we do like a aerial approach of some kind?
Something. Depends on like I guess are we getting into like going into the engagement role or can you do okay? Can your vehicles fly?
I think so. If they can go in space, they probably fly.
Okay. Let me look at your squad sheet. You've got cohorts who are kind of like you've got rovers. So yeah, you can totally be transported in there.
Mm-hmm.
We can
Okay,
stay.
so they're gonna like hella drop us into the battlefield.
Yeah, I think we have people who could get us there aerially, but I think mechanically actually being able to fly terrestrially is a loadout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Whereas
so
in
maybe they could.
space, you can just use like thrusters to maneuver, but terrestrially you'd actually need like
Okay, gotcha.
equipment.
So let's see. I'm just taking a look at the stuff I can take. Would that be the mobility suite?
Yes, that would be it. Yes, because it has
Okay, gotcha.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Cool. I will totally take that.
Ooh. Yeah. I'll mention to Robert as well. The cavalry hard points means you get 2 free load on your vehicle, so which is very good because you can only like change your vehicle load using supply points, which we'll get to in downtime. That's another thing entirely.
So are they like are we gonna do like a like high altitude drop onto them, or like are we gonna get it carried there by plane or by helicopter? Like what's the approach?
Well, okay, let's pick like actually this is amongst yourselves, right? Because I think we are getting to the point where basically we are going to pick the method of how you're going to accomplish this objective. I'm assuming this is assault because you're taking on the divine wrath.
Yeah, totally.
Is everyone up for assault?
Yeah, and considering who we are, sounds about right.
Okay, all right. Envoy there doesn't seem so okay. Eager. Okay, cool. So yes, let's go through the rules of the getting to the engagement role, and then we can decide on is it a high altitude drop or how you're gonna get there. All right. So yeah, no, assault is open violence against the target. The detail, that's what I need actually, is what you decide is the point of attack. So you will need to decide now how are you gonna do it. And I think with your rovers cohort, I'm flexible. I can be nice.
Well, I guess like the helicopter approach seems more dangerous to me because if they're artillery, I assume they're going to have some anti-aircraft guns. So I don't know, maybe having that like coming down straight on top of them would be a good approach, doing a high altitude drop.
Everyone else?
I like that, yeah.
All right.
Suitably ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yes, assault and point of attack. Loadout. Each of you is going to decide your loadout for themselves. And
so is that picking specifically what we're taking, or is it just picking our load?
Just picking our load. Yeah.
Okay.
You can figure out what you actually have on you during mission.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So you don't have to pick a mobility suite now, but during the mission. So like say if you want to just have a flamethrower, you can say, "Oh, I've always had this flamethrower," and Just check
Yeah.
it off. That's one of your load. Okay. That includes like on your pilot, not just the vehicle. In case, I don't know. In case, just in case. Just in case something bad happens, you have to be out and about. Okay, so pick your loads, whatnot. Time for the engagement roll. After the mission is planned, play jumps right into the action, and we catch up with the squad when they encounter the first obstacle. To see how severe the situation is when the squad gets into it, we make an engagement roll. So this is a fortune roll. We start with 1, plain old luck. Is the mission bold?
Yes.
Can't argue with that. So you take 1 plus 1d. Is the mission especially complex? Absolutely not. It's
No.
beat the shit out of the divine wrath, get the defector, get out. It's straightforward. Does the mission exploit the target's vulnerabilities? Does it?
I would say yes, because they're very like immobile. So if we get in the middle of them, they're going to be totally fucked.
True. Okay, all right, you've convinced me. I think I found out that like because I'm a nice GM, I don't know if I'm good for running Forge in the Dark stuff because I'm just like, oh, I can have this. I don't have a devil's bargain. I don't want to screw with you. I want you to win. Okay, yeah. So yeah, take another one. So it's 3d6.
Yep.
Is the mission's tactic ineffective against the target? Nah.
No.
Well, yeah. That's what they get for being an artillery unit, I guess. Not that they won't have any defenses, but you know, it could happen. So, does the squad receive external support for the mission? Did you ask for any support?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think House Veridian is basically telling you to sink or swim.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
we have our cohort, but I don't think that counts as external.
No, they're your posse, they're your group. I don't want you all to each name a driver just so we care about them in case they die. We'll do that later. All right. Is anyone interfering with the mission other than the targets? There's the knights, though. They're on their way.
I guess that's up to you to decide.
Yeah, I think. I think, depending on how this goes, because there'll be clocks aplenty. They're not interfering yet, but they will.
Okay, so it's not relevant to the engagement.
No, yeah,
but it will come up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, are there any other factors that affect this mission? See, there's no difference in squad tier. Both of you are squad 1, tier 1. You and the Divine Wrath. So that's all right.
I would say the only thing that I would argue for is that they're undersupplied.
Yeah. I don't know if they're that undersupplied. I think that means that you can push them, but I don't think it's enough to like mess up the engagement too much. So
Okay.
3d6. 3d6 is very good. It's quite good. So who wants to roll?
I feel like Aethelbald should roll.
Okay, it's my plan. Let's go. Double 6. That's a crit.
Okay. All right. Boom. Okay. There's another thing that keeps happening whenever we run Forge in Dark games. Everyone just rolls 6s. It just happens. So is there a specialty for a double 6? I wonder. Let me find it. Okay. Engagement cannot crit if 2. Okay. All right. Fine. You got a controlled position. That's very good. So okay. All right. So I guess when we cut, it's we cut to like this vast expanse. I'm just imagining like in the anime, just like it's just bright, sunny, hazy, and then these like barrels park into view, and there's this like array of just artillery units kind of hold on. Sorry, that's my dad. Yeah. So yeah, there's this like array of like what could looks like an impressive display of artillery cannons until like, and they shoot off this volley, probably set to classical music because I've been watching too much Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Just like Dvorak's Ninth Symphony. I love that piece. And yeah, as the pounding of the cannons. But I think if there's any EGOT viewers, you'd notice like of like this array, only a few of them are actually firing. Some of them seem to be just there for display. And the Divine Wrath are kind of camped out in this like kind of helter-skelter sort of camp. And yeah, describe to me how you all kind of like we decide Halo jumping, I guess. Yeah. So first off, I want each a snapshot of the three of your, because this is the first time we're doing this, so we're gonna do that. I want to like just get a clear sense of each mech when they kind of launch off from their big fuck off high altitude space plane, when they launch down to whoop the ass of the Divine Wrath. And what's their kickoff line?
Oh yeah, no. Okay, so like I guess I'm gonna take the mobility suite. So I don't think I have like specific retro thrusters on my mech. I just have like the actual like thrusters on the mech. And I'm holding my giant halberd, beam halberd. And I just say, oh yeah, what's my Gundam launching phrase? I think I say Fenris Potens on the hunt and jump out of the plane.
Nice. Oh yeah, I'm gonna start generating some clocks in the in the Rover party room. Yeah. What about the other two? What's your?
I think for Luce, it isn't a like catchphrase. It's Luce does this like elegant salute with the mech, which is kind of weird because Luce's mech Bale doesn't have a head, so it's like shoulders, arms, and it's just this like wah, 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 and then like dives out.
God, we are getting our anime on so hard today. What about Venus, our ace?
I think Venus. I haven't named her mech yet. So Venus just also launches with her greatsword, like in a sort of downwards. She's kind of basically like launching herself towards the ground like a missile, except with a sword at the end.
Nice. And I think because you're in a control position, yeah, that would be nice. You probably like as you make your way to three like these brilliant beaming lights from House Pembroke coming in, and I think you are kind of like just gonna smash through quite a few of. Oh, go on, Kyle.
Yeah, it's definitely like falling, and then like the velocity warning comes up on the HUD. I'm like, silence! Just like crash into one of these giant guns and cut it in half.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you're in such a good position. Yeah, you'll crash through some of these guns while the others kind of pivot. In the meantime, because the guns are like a bit farther back from the town, and you can see Falter there. It's like a lot of like adobe mud brick houses. It's quite higgledy-piggledy looking, even though it's in a flat plane. And you can see like the giant the communications array, which has seen better times. It's been dinged by the artillery for sure. And you can see in front of Falter are like, trenches and power lines and like mechs just dug into the sand. And there is like a pitched fight between Falter's forces and some of Divine Wrath's mechs. But you all can judge. You all have gotten into their backline. You completely surprised them. You can pretty much like just. But I'm gonna add a tick to this Divine Wrath resistance clock. Actually, no, it was a 6. I'll give you 2 ticks. See, I'm too nice. I shouldn't be running this game. Yeah, so yeah, I'll give you 2 ticks. See if I do that. Actually, no. I just saw how many ticks. No, just 1 tick for now. I should be less nice. But yeah, I think you smash into like their artillery and like supply line. So there's now like confusion as like some of the mechs who are like taking pot shots at Falter, Falter's front line, kind of like, wait, what should be happening? Meanwhile, you're kind of like in the middle of their base, where quite frankly most of their like just personnel. There might be some few Humvees with like what are basically pea shooters, just pea shooters against your gleaming machines of war. And yeah, you've got the advantage right now. And I think we're near the top of the next hour. Take a 9-minute break, come back at the top, and then we'll see how our brilliant boys and our ladies and gentlemen, House Pembroke, will see how they do. Doing well so far. BRB. I'm falling into this like habit of like wanting to run more series of random stuff. And I'm like, oh, I want to run a Forge in the Dark game every month now, because yeah, running games like these are easy. You know, piece of cake.
Yeah. Once you know what to do with them, they kind of run themselves.
Yeah, I think I just wish I'm at that point now. I've ran Mutants in the Night last month, and that is like for Forge and Dark game, that is quite simple actually, because it's quite stripped back. It's not even a crew sheet. There are like 5 factions. So like at least compared to Blades, it wasn't too hard to keep track of everything. This though, I mean, check out that character sheet.
It is no joke.
It is not, but you know, I think the verisimilitude of having all that kind of really just does add to that. I don't know. I don't say it adds character, but like it makes me excited for some reason. Look at this. She's like, oh, look at all the stuff I can do. All the stuff that's
Yeah,
there.
Totally.
Yeah, it's definitely the sort of thing that I wish. Like, actually, I like running this for the gauntlet. That it's just gonna be a quick run, but I definitely wish I could run like a full series, a full campaign of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'd be thinking more seriously, but I just launched a campaign earlier this week of another game, and I don't have time.
Yeah.
Maybe when that's done, I'll ask if anyone's interested. If anyone here is interested, I don't know. Saying.
I'd play a campaign of this.
Yeah. Make it a few months, and then I don't know. I'll be weeping and tired and just sad about war. Okay, so the House Pembrooke squad. You've all kind of landed in what I assume is a very no, we're not gonna make you pose. Well, some of you are probably posing. I don't know. You kind of like smash through their artillery lines. You're kind of smack dab in the middle of their base, but most of their offensive units, like their mechs, again at the front line, and just backs are kind of turned to you because you and the unit from Falter have caught them in the middle. So you're in a controlled position, as mentioned, and you can see like Falter is in smoke thanks to the siege and the artillery. What do y'all do?
I think. So I will. I think the sort of the smoke clears from my landing. There's like flames everywhere, and I emerge from the smoke and I say, I am Aethelbald Pembroke, the Wandering Wolf. Long have I waited for this day. Fear me, for I am your end. And I'm going to do like a sweet halberd twirling move. And I want to use command to damage their morale.
Oh wow. All right. Let's see. Oh wow, your command's good. And this is controlled great. Okay, well, not great. Let's say it's control standard. You're still I think if you hadn't said that you're the Wandering Wolf, because they know they wiped out your lot. So it's not great, I'd say. It's just standard, but you're still controlled.
All right. So I will push myself for an extra die.
Cool.
And let's see how this goes.
3d6.
3d6.
Mark 2 stress.
Yep. That is a crit.
Oh fuck! Yeah, I trust you. I just
No,
don't.
it's double 6 and a 3.
Yeah, no. I trust you. It's just that I knew it every time. Every time. Ah, God. Okay. Hold on. There is actually like a list of consequences here. I should have pulled that up. Like the other two. What are the two reactions? Just whatever the hell he's doing.
I think when I land, the kind of first thing I do is like track the periphery of, okay, we know that we landed straight and true. We got on top of all of this artillery. What I think I'm doing is, okay, artillery aren't a threat because we're up and amongst them. They're not short range. It's like pulling out my like beam rifle and being like, okay, I'm gonna scan the edge of things to pick off anything that tries to come disrupt our primary plan.
Okay. Yeah, I like the image of Aethelbald is wielding Fenris's halberd, doing the command. Luce's mech, whose name I've forgotten.
Bale. So Bale, I think this is just like this like beam rifle or maybe railgun, something like that. Some high-powered distance rifle.
Nice. Be sure to mark that.
Yes.
In your load. And just so I want to complete this image before we get to what Aethelbald did, which is a lot. Where's Venus and their mech? What's their position?
So Venus is I've shown you the picture of the mech. It's like a big sort of bulky, but sort of thin in places, and it's got a massive like great sword, But what you don't see in the picture is the great sword is actually got an energy field, sort of thing. So every now and then she's like points it at somebody and shoots just a beam of energy out the tip of the sword.
Nice. Yeah, so on a controlled standard effect crit, it goes up to great effect. Clock is nearly full. You're one tick away, I think.
Yeah, it's 4 ticks for a crit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think there are quite a few. I think the ones that haven't surrendered are the ones kind of like caught in melee or fighting in front of the Falter town. But I think, look, I'm not gonna make it look there. You think there's God. Trying to think of like what else I could throw at you. Oh, I know. So yeah, you make up this command. I think the folks in the camp just stop and just kind of like hands up, especially with the displays from the other two mechs. Then you hear this like this someone responds and says, "Oh my God, is that our wandering little cub, our lost little wolfie boy?" And suddenly this barrage of, you can see this barrage of like pure black like energy, like artillery is coming towards the three of you. It's aimed especially at Aethelbald, but it's very like it's concentrated to the three of you. So I'm going to read out a bit from the book section entitled Rivals. Pilots have very intense lives, which leads to very intense encounters with other people, and sometimes these interactions lead to an antagonistic connection. There's a person out there that they just can't stand, and the feeling is mutual. This is a pilot's rival who exists to present a challenge whenever they're on screen. When a rival becomes a part of a mission, they will always be an obstacle for the pilots, and overcoming them is represented by an 8-tick progress clock. Rivals, no matter how friendly, are never to be taken lightly. The fiction demands that they may have even more than one clock to represent multiple obstacles to be removed before the rival can be tackled directly. No, the rival is going straight for you. So you just get the 8-tick clock. I'm going to generate that in a moment. Yeah. Here's another fun thing rivals can do, and I'll say this straight up front before I start inflicting stuff on you all. In addition to being persistent opponents, rivals are very dangerous both during missions and between them. A number of times per mission, equal to the number of pilots on the mission, a rival can inflict a consequence at any time. Before a pilot acts, on a result of a 6, after a fortune roll, at any time. And I'm doing that right now. So, all right, now I need to find the consequences list. Rivals are ridiculous. Yeah, I think what's gonna happen is, I'm still nice. I'm still quite nice. So I think this barrage is more like probably like a. If she hadn't shouted at y'all, you everyone have warning, but you're all gonna take level 1 damage, just level 1. It's fine. Like I think the spray of this black artillery, just like I think it splits as it gets to you, and you're pelted more like by a rain of this black energy, and you.
I'm gonna soak it with a force field.
Ooh, cool. Okay, let me see what she does, because. Yeah. I think if you pick that, then I think you can. It's just level 1 damage.
Yeah.
Remember, folks, like these consequences can be resisted anytime. For in a vehicle, you're gonna use up quirks for that. But yeah, I think Luce, since you're serving with Bale, you'll see this like floating towards you is almost like this squat, ungainly sort of mech. It looks like a floating tower. But you can see like these 2 large, like just like floating black and purple, like 2 halves of a tower. They're almost floating like shields surrounding this, but you can barely tell it's like this squat mech that's kind of holding on to them, and you can see those towers kind of bristling with gun barrels. And I think you've seen this mech before, Aethelbald. In fact, you might have seen it firing gleefully at the rest of your at your mercenary unit. This mech, who I should give it a name. Let's see. Unless you have a name for it, Aethelbald, since you met this mech before. You met this woman before. Oh, to resist, just I think Robert has a question chatted. To resist a consequence in a mech, you will, it's kind of the same as resisting, like resistance, except you're gonna roll either expertise or acuity, and you take like, I'm trying to remember, it was like 4 quirks minus their highest roll. I think that's what it takes. Yes, I need to read that, but that's to resist consequences in a vehicle. Go on.
I think Alice's mech is probably called the Bolt of Heaven.
Yeah, but you can tell already, like, because I think the other Chantry mechs, the Divine Wraths, they all at least, well, I guess not the Divine Wrath, but you can tell Palladium lines are more like being sleek and being like heavenly and whatnot, but Alice's mech, the Bolt of Heaven, is demonic. It's almost blasphemous, which kind of tells you a lot about her. And the other like Divine Wrath mechs are, the Divine Wraths, they're also fairly nice, even though they're a bit more scrabbled and put together because they're a bit low in the totem pole. But yeah, So the bolt of heaven is just kind of like floating, eerily floating. It doesn't look like that's thrusters, but it's coming, and you can see it's priming its guns at the three of you. And you hear just Alice's voice going like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that the complete and utter massacre of your friends was enough for you, little lost wolf. I see you brought more for me to kill." And any of you can respond. It's not she's directing this to Aethelbald, but
I mean, I'm letting them have their moment, but I think at this point I just kind of soaked up the barrage to keep my sights on this new mech, and I think I like leap sideways to get clearance from the other two, kind of spread out just a little bit so that we have kind of multiple vantage points instead of being all clustered up. And I think I'm trying to like keep sights on her so I can kind of figure out what her deal is.
I think
Are you trying to talk us to death, or will you actually do something?
Oh, I'm gonna do both.
No, not you.
Oh, me? Yeah, no, I say.
No, I was addressing the rival.
Gotcha. That's pretty good. Yeah,
I like that all of us feel called out by that.
Yeah.
Oh no! At this point, Robert is well used to me playing screaming, angry, very wordy, bad people in mechs. At this point,
Yeah. So just to call it out, when I have a chance, I'd like to do read 'em and sweep on the rival too.
Well,
when I've observed them either in secret or openly. This open, I'm seeing, maybe I spend a little longer watching the two of them, the rivals, engage, and then I can trigger that.
Yes, I think we'll give it a bit more time, but you can totally trigger that.
Yeah, that's what I want to move towards.
Yeah, and I think Alice responds to that, to your crack there, Venus. One of the tower protrusions just points her direction and just shooting out a volley. It's gonna smash through like bits of the camp as well, but it's kind of it's precisely aimed at you. What do you do?
I'm gonna raise my shield and charge to take them head on.
Wow. Okay. What's the vehicle action there, you think?
I am probably going into battle.
Yeah. That sounds like it. I think this is, they're a rival and they're quite powerful, but like they're kind of on their own. The Divine Wrath's resistance is kind of crumbling, so I'm gonna say this is it's a good old risky standard. Let's start off.
And
all right.
I will assist with this.
Cool. How are you assisting?
By I think it's just like attacking on her other flank. Maybe I'm using like my boosters to get like some height and then do like a jumping attack against her. So I spend 1 stress for that. Sorry.
There's a bit of difference for Beam Saber. You're gonna take stress equal to the number of ticks in your connection clock with them, but it's just 1. So
okay.
1 with Venus, and then you can select from a number of benefits. Although you can select. So either they take +1d, they have improved effect, they have improved position, ignore level 3 harm, or ignore level 3 damage. So
and this is This is risky standard, you said?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I'll increase the effect level to risky great.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no, I should have remembered you have vehicle damage, so it would have been risky limited because you had less effect because you had damage. So you're raising this up to risky standard then.
Sorry, can you explain that? Why it's damage? The damage is limited.
Oh no, I meant like he has level 1.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
With less effect. So when I said risky standard, I should have said risky limited. So if you choose improved effect, you're raising it up to risky standard.
Okay, gotcha.
So I probably shouldn't have rolled yet, right?
Well, what did you roll? What'd you get? Oh no, actually, you probably shouldn't have. We'll discount that for now. We're not discussing this. So yeah, did you want to improve Aethelbald? Did you want to improve Venus's effect?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay, cool. Risky standard. Cool. 2d6. Unless you want to push yourself there, Venus.
I don't think I'm there yet.
Okay.
That's a 6.
Oh, there you go. At least, yeah. If we had stuck to your earlier roll, it would have been a 2. But no, you get a 6 because I'm being nice. There you go.
Thank you, Leandro.
yeah. You better say thanks. I'm kidding. Don't. Doesn't matter. Okay. All right. So let me just tick Alice's clock. Because it's a risky standard. Yeah, let's put 03. Yeah. So describe to me then, Venus, as Aethelbald kind of like comes up from behind and like traps Alice between the two of you. How do you attack? How do you do battle with her?
Well, you said they were opening fire and trying to, like getting the town smashed up. With,
when I said she's ignoring the collateral damage and she's getting bits of her squad's base smashed up.
So yeah, what I'm gonna do is basically I'm charging in front of any of her fire that would get the cause collateral damage. I'm trying to minimize that as I'm like shield bashing into her.
Nice. Yeah. So I think between the two between the two you caught Alice, but she's putting on a brave face and she's like wow, this is amazing, little lost wolf. You've actually brought people of caliber this time. Like how long did your friends last? Previously, it was like what, 10 minutes. Let's see if your friends make it to 10 this time. And yeah, then her mech starts powering up. It's like kind of like the tower kind of encloses the mech, and it starts powering up. I don't know if you have anything to say to what she just said there, Aethelbald, but she's definitely trying to get under your skin.
Yeah, and I think I will say, you will not last half the time my comrades did.
Nice. Okay.
And I guess I will also attack her.
All right. This is a... Well, no. What's going to happen is I'm going to inflict another consequence on y'all. So okay. I can only inflict 3. I've already used up 1. Mm-hmm. I can use up a second one. What's going to happen is, the two of you kind of the tower closes up, and all the guns kind of rotate around the tower until they're pointed in one direction. And I think when you say that, Aethelbald should just say, well, how long can you last with this? And she's going to shoot you point blank with all those guns. You're going to take level 2 damage and level 1 harm.
I will soak it with armor.
Okay, so... All right. Which one did you take?
So you said level 2 damage and level 1 harm?
Yes.
Okay, well, I will just say I'm taking medium load for this mission on my pilot, and I will take armor from there. Okay.
Nice, you have all these options, like just a lot of options. Okay. Loose. So you got a chance to look, but here's something that's happened because taking quite a bit of time here. So you get a communicate through your radar. Maybe everyone gets this. It's like incoming Ascendancy marked vehicles on their way, and it's gonna be a 4-step clock. The Knights of Valentine are on their way.
All right, great. And I think over our like encrypted comms between the three of us, I'm like, hey, let's hurry it up just a little.
Gladly.
And I think I'm just like, I like scan the horizon, scan back to Alice, and I just line up a long distance shot with my beam rifle.
Nice. Okay.
Like she just talked this big game, and I'm just like, and okay, that's clear enough.
What vehicle action are you using for this?
I think this is bombard.
Yeah,
because it's not close range. Because like I'm back down amongst the artillery.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because you moved away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of being like, oh, I'll play support while they're clashing weapons against giant gun array.
Yeah.
And I'll just try to do a precision shot from a distance.
Okay. This is, hold on, let me see your stats. Okay. All right. So I think this is going to be, it's still risky.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna be, it would have been risky standard. It would have been riskier if like the two of them were close to each other, but her shot actually pushing back Aethelbald actually gives you a cleaner shot. But this is risky limited because of your damage.
I'll push myself to up the effect.
Yeah, you can totally do that. Take 2 stress.
Sounds good to me. Let's see what happens. Not so great. That's a 3.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let's look at the consequences here. Yeah, I think you take your shot, and it's enclosed tall, bulky armor. So I think your shot just like it doesn't hit a weak point. So it kind of just planks through. And what's this gonna do? Is the Divine Wrath sees this, and they're like, "Oh hell yeah, our ace is here! Yeah, she's taking them all down." So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna untick 2 ticks from the Divine Wrath resistance clock. As look, some of them are like the folks who've surrendered are like cautiously like picking up like their weapons again or repowering their mechs, and you're in that spot, Luce. You're in that spot. So yeah, I'm gonna tick this or just keep ticking. So, all right, no, that's what I want. Oh man, Rob, you're right. Yeah, this game starts grinding you down. Yeah. So yeah, Venus. I think yes, Venus. You kind of you've smashed. I think the bit where you did smash through the bolt of heaven. I think you did cleave through, and her attention is too busy taunting Aethelbald over there. Luce's shot does not ring through. What do you do, Venus?
Where are you looking? I'm gonna slash at them with my greatsword.
Cool. All right. That's still a battle, I presume. Yeah. I don't know how that's gonna be. You're trying to beat the shit out of this mech. Cool. I think. Let's see. You still have got damage. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong sheet. Nope. Yes, you do. So this is still going to be limited effect. I guess it's still risky. You're not. I'm imagining you're holding your own. The three of you are still kind of holding your own, but like more complications are going to pop up. So this is risky limited. Aethelbald, are you helping? I saw you unmute there.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Well, you don't have to.
It's an X. It's 1, so yeah, I'll do it. It's 1. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I will increase the effect again.
Cool. How are you helping? You've tanked it this time.
So I think I'm going to try to time my hit right before Venus's so that Alice gets distracted, and that sort of like quick slash that Venus is trying to do is like more effective.
Nice. So yeah, roll risky standard.
Yeah. Got a 6.
Oh, God. Wow. All right. Hell yeah. Let's see. All right. So that's 3 ticks, if I remember correctly. Oh, 2 ticks with a risky standard. Jesus, yeah, you are more than halfway through our clock for sure.
Yeah, it's like 1 for limited, 2 for standard, 3 for great, and 4 for extreme.
Yeah, for crits. Man, remember when we were critting? That was like 20 minutes ago. So, yeah, I think the 2 of you, the double effect, I think it smashes through one of her like 2 tower shields, and yeah, it kind of pushes her back, her floating, and yeah, the tower shield you see is like you can kind of see her mech peeping from inside, and you can see like it's those tower shields are quite big. It covers the entire mech, and yeah, I think Alice at this point, when she comes back on, you can hear her spitting, as if like she's coughing up something, and she says like, "Wow, you've sharpened your claws, little wolf. You found a pack that could actually follow you and live up to your standards, nobleman."
They are far above your rank.
The thing is, Wolfie, rank means shit when you're at war. When you're here, when it's just when all that matters is luck or skill or anything else. You might as well just be some piece of gristle that I'm going to pound to the sand until you are just gristle. You and all your friends. And I'm gonna spend my last consequence. She's gonna angle her last tower shield, and she's gonna combine it all to one big gun. And so like a one beam, one laser, focus beam onto Baal. And you can choose to resist this, Baal, but you are going to take. Let's see, how's Baal doing? Yeah, you're gonna take a level 2 harm, and remember, you are surrounded by folks who are getting more and more like getting their gumption back of seeing Alice kind of like tank and beat up these folks. But yeah, you're gonna take this hit. Do you want to resist it or?
I am definitely resisting.
Okay.
I think it's like I'm picturing it. I'm focused. I've been focused on Alice anyway, so it's like I see what's happening, and it's like my light-footedness. I want to like swivel out of the way. That like big like sweep of the legs that you see mechs do.
Nice.
And I think it's like swiveling. Like the goal is I swivel away so that whatever beam attack she's doing like tries to follow me but destroys a bunch of the artillery is the ideal. We'll see how well that works.
Nice. Yeah, so actually you don't roll.
You're right.
Resisting with vehicles. What you do is you're gonna exhaust 4 quirks minus the attribute you use, which since this sounds like a maneuver, it sounds like expertise. So you are gonna exhaust 2 quirks then. Because your acuity like attribute has like 2. So you're gonna cross off which quirks are you crossing off?
I'm gonna check light-footed and sensor dependent.
Nice.
Of I was focused on it, and it's the fact that I can move really quick
Nice.
that let me do this.
Okay. So
And I think
go on.
I think I would follow into near range like area attack against the troops that are rallying into various mechs and artillery.
Mm-hmm.
If that's cool.
Yeah. No, that's cool. You are kind of surrounded.
I think I will say that I have anti-infantry defenses mounted into my mech for this mission.
Yeah.
Because I knew we were attacking essentially an artillery installation, which is mostly people on the ground. And so the description of this I like a lot. It's a shrapnel launcher that shreds flesh and light materials, but does little to sturdy objects.
That's bad.
And I think I swerve out of the way of this beam weapon, and it chars this big line into the installation. And like the people were cheering on their ace. And then I swivel out of the way and then just launch this cloud of shrapnel out.
Oh,
tearing into them.
Oh, that's a risky great. I think. Oh well, let's say action actually.
I think this is probably just battle. This is close range.
You sure you're not destroying? Nah, it's probably battle.
Yeah, since it's not quite. I think it's against flesh.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll give you battle.
Either way,
risky great, and because you have that.
I have less effect because of damage.
Yeah, just risky standard then.
Risky standard, and I'm going to push myself for an extra die.
Cool.
So that I can roll 2 dice this time instead of my.
Take 2 stress.
Let's roll 2. That's a 2 and a 4.
Okay, all right. That's like a standard effect. That's 2 ticks. We're back to where we were when. I think this has to be gruesome.
This is going to be nasty.
This looks like it sucks. And I think, you know what? We're gonna fast forward, and we're gonna have to describe how gruesome it is.
Yeah, we just like see the. I think like the camera pans up.
Yes,
and we like see the impression of like the spatter.
Yeah. It pans up, and you can see a twinkle. This spaceship nearby. I'm gonna add because this is the complication. We got a tick to the Knights of Valentine clock. Yeah. Oh God, where are we? All right. So Alice's hit missed ball. I think we'll roll back to Aethelbald because I think Aethelbald has just assisted this past few times, but all her talk is for you. The two of you have been talking.
Yeah, so I think I will. Yeah, I think I know what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to try to use the shaft of my halberd and my boosters, like my aerial boosters, to basically like push the heaven's bolt and like just throw it completely off its feet. Because what good are your tower shields and all that armor if you can't stand up, right? So yeah, I think I will be using battle here, and I will also push myself. So according to our Reaver's ability, I have to roll first, and then if the result is 4 or higher, I will exhaust a quirk. Otherwise, we don't. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see the result of this first. Let's see. Jeez, you have no harm or damage because you've been spending armor like a motherfucker. Yeah, remind folks that armor is.
Gotta keep that effect up, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I would argue for increased effect because I have a fine heavy melee weapon as well as the mobility suite.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So this would be. This didn't seem desperate. This was definitely risky. I think all that will put up the grade. I think you're showing fortitude and not letting her get to you. So this is a risky.
Okay. So I'm rolling 2d6. Does anybody want to help me?
Is it Venus's turn to help? No one's helped.
Yeah, Venus is still like anytime that anytime Alice like ignores her, she's going to punish her by like getting in another ding, with a sword.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So take 1 stress because I think you only have 1 tick in your. Yeah, you should have 1 tick at least with Aethelbald. Everyone starts out with 1 tick. Your connections clock. Yeah, take 1 stress, and you can add another die, or you can increase the effect or a precision.
Hard choice. Do you want extreme effect, or do we want 3 dice? Oh no.
Well, the thing is, you're already at great.
Yeah. How many ticks does she got left?
She has 3.
Okay. So I'm gonna take that extra die. I'm gonna take that extra die. Okay.
That makes sense. All right, cool.
Come on.
Oh, that's negotiating, really.
Oh no.
What?
1, 2, 2.
Yeah, okay. So this is what happens. This is what neither of you probably expect this. But what's gonna happen is the broken tower shield disengages from her mech, and you can actually see it's like this sleek, almost like small, like almost like Virgin Mary sort of figure, sort of mech, but with a bit of like some rivets and spikes pulled into it. And her other tower shield suddenly kind of splits off into multiple segments. So like when you try to stab through, it goes through like the segments, and then the two of you are kind of like cross swords, and then the segment, the shield comes back again to a shield. It's trapped the two of you, and I don't know if you can hear a smirk, but you're hearing a smirk right now. You can't see Alice, but you can tell she's smirking as again your 2 weapons are caught in the tower shield, and the barrels, they're just gonna fire off. You're gonna take level 2 damage to both of you.
I'm not sure you can do that. Oh wait, it's a risky position, right?
Yeah. Oh, actually, let me reread that. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I can. take up.
Yeah. It's not controlled, so yeah. Okay, so we're taking what, level 2?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I will resist that.
Cool.
So it would be I think this is battle again. I think this is like me using the shaft of my halberd to like basically like try to push her to the side so that the shot will not connect.
Okay.
So I would take it's not a roll, right?
No, yeah, it's 4
So
quirks.
I remove 1 quirk. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to remove.
Yeah. And besides even if you had to go with the other one, your reverse thing would have only let you exhaust 1 quirk anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. What about yourself, Venus? Are you resisting this? Or
Yeah, I'm gonna resist it.
Right.
So
how are you resisting?
I'm resisting with maneuver.
Yeah. Well, it's either expertise or acuity, really. But it sounds like a maneuver.
Yeah.
Probably moving your way out. Yeah. So you exhaust 2 quirks then.
Okay. So I'll exhaust screaming speed.
Cool.
And hold reliable.
Okay, and because that was like, yeah, no, actually no. The Knights of Valentine can just stay there for the moment. Yeah. All right, let's go back to Luce. We're gonna have to wrap this up. And rivals are tough. Tricky shit.
I'm picturing like this, the shield broke off and Aethelbald was like over the top trying to bash stuff out of the way, and it's like I'm picturing like the symbolism of like mech on top of other mech, kind of physically, kind of this like almost physical intimacy of it. I want to read this.
Ooh.
I think I've seen enough of their relationship in this fight.
All right.
To get a read on Alice.
Cool. Spend 2 stress to ask one of the following questions with someone you have observed, or either secretly opening. So you spend 2, and yeah, which of these questions will you ask?
In what ways are their mind and soul vulnerable?
Ooh.
Like, why are they so angry?
I think I don't know how you can tell this, but I will just tell you right now. I think there's some bits there you can probably tell. Like, why is she so specifically angry about this person, about Aethelbald specifically? This what should be just a random, because this seems so random. This pilot woman for the Divine Wrath. It's
clearly they've known each other. Like, that's obvious. But
yeah, I think. Okay, I think here's how you put it together. When after she smirks and the 2 kind of tank it together, she's like, did you really think that Alice Margrave over here is just going to keel over and die to some silly, whimpering, rabid wolf like you? And you being a diplomat and a socialite, you recognize the name Margrave. It's one of the Veridian Alliance's like big like weapons manufacturers, and they are very traditionalist. They're very like set in their ways, and even though they deal in weapons, none of them, they don't serve, and their military duties are above them. And knowing kind of like their family and whatnot, you know that there's a couple of boys who like are CEOs or businessmen and whatnot, merchants. I think is the preferred term in the Veridian Alliance. but you kind of tweak in your head. Yeah, there was one girl that was just kind of like just vaguely mentioned who just disappeared. It was a minor scandal because it was almost like House Margrave was trying to cover up the existence that they had. They had a girl, they had a daughter, they had someone who did exist, but now they're like almost ashamed of her. And I think Alice kind of says it all again. It's like, and she's like, do you think your silly noble house is gonna take you back once I crushed you and I've broken your knees and I've turned your fingers to soup? No, they throw you away because that's what the houses do. They throw you away once you're not of them, once you're not a piece of them. Yeah, I think you can see why you can see where her vulnerability is.
Can I do I have the ability to open a 1-to-1 channel to her mech?
Ooh.
So that the other two can't hear me.
Okay, this sounds like a roll. If you don't want anyone else to hear you, I think this is.
Yeah, I don't know. I
think just to try and talk to them, it might be either consort or.
Because I was going to my actual quote unquote conversation. It's probably not going to be much of a conversation. I was thinking sway because my goal is to push her.
Okay, I think we can abstract being able to talk to her 1-to-1 as part of this role, and then
as like a maybe like if I fuck up, a consequence can be that, oh no, it's actually public what you're.
Yes. Yeah.
Or something like that. Okay.
I think this is gonna be a bit desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not in a great position to do this.
Yeah, no. I think though, because you figured out who she is, it would have been a great effect, but you've got again less effect.
Does it?
Oh yeah, but
it's not a mech action.
Not a mech action. Yeah.
I
think you can have. It's a desperate grade, I guess. You because you asked that question, you know who she is. So.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's 2d6.
Yeah, I'll roll this and see how it goes before I start narrating anything.
Okay. Good luck. Wow.
That goes very poorly.
Wow. Holy
dang. Crap. Is there anything no, I don't think there's anything I can do.
Oh dear. Let's look at those desperate consequences.
Fix this. This is bad.
This is so bad. Okay.
So yeah, to set it up, it's gonna be, I think, this is broadcast.
Yes.
My gambit of making this a private 1-on-1 did not work. And I'm just like, yeah, I just am like, hey little lady, you can stop projecting. We all know that you just want your mom and dad back to accept you for crazy fighting murderer that you are. I'm just like stumbling over my words.
Wow. For fuck's sake. You call yourself an envoy with those kind of words. All right. Okay. You know what?
You optimize for the 95th percentile cases, and then, outliers with giant shields that fire weaponry happen every so often.
Okay, here's gonna happen. I'm gonna be nice, and instead of like picking a desperate consequence, I'm gonna pick 3 controlled consequences. So because you spent time just trying to talk to her instead of trying to fight her, Knights of Valentine go up by 1 consequence. You are going to lose trust with a faction, and I'll tell you which one later. But it's going to be because what else going to happen is that when you say those, she just starts. What does she say? I think she's going to say something along the lines of. What did she say? I think she's just gonna outright reject that and just say like, it's like, oh, she says, someone who sounds like they've never been in a battlefield. Do you really think you're gonna get to me with those words, with those insults? You think you can stop what you think you're gonna stop what's gonna happen? Here's what's gonna happen, little soldier wannabe. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your friend. I'm going to kill your other friend. And we're gonna take this town and we're gonna turn it into ash. And we're gonna spread those ashes all over the Veridian Alliance's stupid, horrible face because they sent people who thought that they could win this war with words. You're gonna take a level 1 harm.
All right.
I've got to run.
Yeah, I think we're gonna stop on a cliffhanger on this. Yeah, this.
See if we can take it down next time.
Yeah, I think. Jesus. Yeah, this is. I'm gonna stop this broadcast here. We're gonna end that cliffhanger with her just like saying all that, and then we'll cut to. I don't know what our ending theme is. Something that's that cuts from the, I don't know, something ironic, maybe something nice and jazzy.
Fly me to the moon.
Yeah, well, so we did that last month with the Evangelion, with Evangelion. So fly me to the moon. Yeah, it's
my way.
Okay.
Amaral.
I need to get back to watching Original Gundam. Anyway, folks, thanks so much. This has been a blast and a half. Man, you're right. This system just went from like, oh, we're doing it to like, oh shit. All right, I'm gonna stop the broadcast. So I want to get some quick like stars and wishes from Ka before I let them go. But yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for those who are watching. Team Saber, all that stuff down there. BRB. Bye bye.